Right, welcome to another Science Mr. Robertson video here, and today we're going to talk about things eating other things. And I'm going to start with my classic favourite example, grass. Lots of animals in the world eat grass. Grass is a plant. As a plant, therefore, it's a producer. Grass is eaten by, and look, the arrow means is eaten by. Grass is eaten by rabbits. Lots of other things, but I'm going to say a rabbit there. A rabbit's an animal eating another living thing. I can therefore call it a consumer. Rabbits, and lots of animals eat them. A classic animal that eats a rabbit is a fox. It's also eating something else. It's also a consumer. What I've drawn here, this is a simple example of something called a food chain. It shows what things are eaten by what. Grass is eaten by rabbits. Rabbits are eaten by foxes. I can also use some other terms here, make it a bit more exact. I could call the rabbit the first consumer, and the fox the second consumer, of course. First, second. If there's more, it could be a third, fourth, etc. I can also call the fox, in this example, the top predator. The predator is the word we use to describe things that hunt other animals. The fox is hunting another animal. It is an example of a predator. In this food chain, it is the top predator, because at the top of the food chain. The rabbit, in this example, is prey. It is hunted. It has to avoid being caught by the predator. So rabbits are adapted to avoid being caught, and foxes are adapted to be good at catching things. We'll look more at that in class. But this here is a simple food chain with the important words you need to know. Now, that's all very good, but that's not the only thing to think about. Foxes don't just eat rabbits throughout their entire life. They eat many different things, maybe. So rather than a food chain, I can have something called a food web. And this is something I could use for the entire community, the entire group of animals living in an area. There could be lots of different plants at the bottom. I could have grass again, but I could also have things like, what can I pick? I could pick an oak tree, maybe. Some animals might eat the leaves. I could pick things like vegetables, so I'll have carrots, maybe. Now I know rabbits like both carrots and grass. Carrots are eaten by rabbits. Grass is eaten by rabbits. You can see here I have two arrows to show this. But the carrots could also be eaten by humans. Oak tree could be eaten by a caterpillar. The grass could also be eaten by cows. And the cows could be eaten by humans. And of course we put the rabbits and the foxes in again. And you can see how it gets more and more complicated. Caterpillars eaten by birds, and so on and so on and so on. Something like this here is a food web. They can sometimes get a little bit complicated, but they shouldn't be too complicated, because you have to just look at each individual food chain. So I can see here grass is eaten by cows, is eaten by humans. That's one food chain. And explain everything I can based on that one food chain. So that's the food chain, that's the food web. I also want to talk a little bit about pyramids, and not the pyramids in Egypt. I've got some pyramids called pyramids of number. So let's get our grass to rabbit to foxes again. That's the food chain. Now there's lots and lots of grass. Grass is really small. So there's lots of grass. I'm going to say here this could be, I don't know, 1 million grass. And maybe there's only 20 or 30 rabbits that eat off of that in the area. Grass is so small, rabbits are much bigger than that. And then maybe 2 foxes. I'm just making up numbers here. Most pyramids of number look like this. Need lots of producers and then only a few consumers each time. Most pyramids look something like this shape here. The classic would be a classic pyramid of number. However, that's not always true. If I take the other food chain I could have, so maybe oak tree, caterpillar to birds, there's one oak tree, and many caterpillars live on the oak tree. Because you can have some producers that are very big. This pyramid of number looks like this. One oak tree, maybe 50 caterpillars, and maybe 5 birds. I don't know. But that could be a pyramid of number for this. It's not very useful. A pyramid of number doesn't always explain what I want to show. Instead, I might talk about a pyramid of biomass. How much stuff the animals and the plants actually have. Because I can do a pyramid of number, but one oak tree is so many times bigger than 50 caterpillars. And the pyramid of biomass always has that shape there. What this tells me, every time something is eaten by something else, the amount of stuff that is in those living things goes down. something is happening to that mass. What is happening, as we'll look more in class time, is that some of that mass is disappearing. It's not disappearing. It's being used as energy. This makes sense. We need to eat to get energy. But then by eating, all the food we take in, we don't make more muscle with it. We waste lots of energy. So you always see your pyramids in this shape. Thank you for watching. Take care. See you in class time.